No, you are not going there. I am going there. Yes, you are going there.
Going to the yes again.
You there, me there. You there, then I there.
So I thought if she was lying to me or anything like that. So I put a tracker on that the other day.
I need you to stop following me right now. I don't know you. I don't know you. Bye.
Okay.
I'm not going in the restaurant.
Okay, if you go in there again, you will be arrested for trespassing, okay?
Leave me alone. If you don't leave me alone, I will contact the police and I will contact your job. Since you were calling me at my job, I will contact you at your job.
Brett Vorsel's case wasn't high profile because of Brett. He was a nasty piece of work and nothing else. But his victim, on the other hand, was U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal, the representative for Washington's 7th Congressional District and the chairperson of the Democratic Party's House of Progressive Caucus. In 2016, Jayapal became the first Indian American woman elected to the United States House of Representatives. What does an average man like Brett want with a powerful woman like Pramila? His issue has racial intolerance written all over it. Pramila's neighbors testified to hearing Brett attack her verbally with racial slurs, and one time they had also seen him attempt to erect a tent across the seat just outside the U.S. rep's home. She got scared when she thought she heard a pellet gun go off with Brett outside her home and called the cops.
Okay, and why am I being arrested?
Keep walking
Why am I
backwards.
being arrested?
You're being detained.
Okay.
Walk backwards. Walking. Keep walking. You can't come through my back.
He was standing outside the house, belligerent and unfazed. He looked just like a man within his rights to be there, harassing someone in her home. He asked the cops, "What are you arresting me for?"
Okay, and why am I being arrested?
Keep walking
Why am I
backwards.
being arrested?
You're being detained.
Okay.
Walk backwards. Walking. Keep walking. You can't come through my back.
When they finally place handcuffs on him, you'll clearly see the .40 caliber handgun in a holster around his waist, and you see that Jayapal had every reason to worry.
Okay, just relax.
My neck.
Relax.
I'm relaxed. You relax.
Okay.
All right.
But this stalker isn't remorseful in the least. He simply asks, "Why am I being cuffed?"
Why am I being cuffed?
We're gonna talk about it in a second, okay?
Okay. Do you have any other weapons on you, sir? No, sir.
He keeps repeating the same questions. What have I done wrong?
What have I done wrong? What have I done wrong?
Come over here, man.
Why? What have I done wrong?
make it easy
Have I
for now.
broken the law?
Let's make it easy for
Why am I living in the communist states of America?
At first, the cops had to let Brett go because they didn't have much evidence to hold him, but while in police custody, unaware that he was being captured on cam, he's quoted as saying he'll keep going to her home until she goes back to India. Later, they found even more evidence with which to charge him. He admitted to driving past Jayapal's home numerous times while screaming profanities, but he says he never stepped foot inside the house. Brett was charged to court, and though he pled not guilty, he faces nearly 3 years in jail, a restraining order, and an order that forbids him from touching guns of any kind for the next 8 years. Grocery store stalker. Sometimes the best you can do is just try to disengage with a creepy person. It's not always an easy task. The woman recording keeps her phone running as she's approached by her stalker, Mr. Dwyer, who approaches her and asks if she used to work there.
You used to work here? Yes. Mr. Dwyer, I'm a minor. I do not want you to keep coming in here to find me.
She confirms that she did, but very politely informs him that she's a minor and he should leave her alone. Immediately, he's not friendly. He quickly claims not to know who she is and presumably leaves.
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. All right.
In the description, TikTok user Kario Jamuzu claims that the police showed up shortly after that, meaning things had escalated enough to need some sort of outside force to keep them civil. She was safe enough to post this, but hopefully this was enough to deter the man altogether. Creep at the market. This vlogger, YouTuber Seta Nur, couldn't have expected the creepy man she encountered, no matter how vigilant she might have been. There's so many people around and she's traveling alone. It's more than keeping an eye out at that point. The vlogger stops at a street vendor, after a while, purchases a coconut drink. A few men walk by, but nothing of note at first. Then suddenly a man in a blue shirt shows up. He continues to follow the vlogger for a while, going in and out of the camera line before sitting a little ways away. It's clear he's following her because when she passes by him, he makes sure to stay within close distance of her. Every time the camera pans behind her, he's right there, just following along. She seems mostly unaware of her close walking stalker, though it's unclear if that's on purpose or if she really hasn't seen him.
The city is a little empty today. I don't know why. Even though it's Saturday and it should be full and very crowded, it's very nice.
It eventually cuts off as she records later in her hotel room, clearly shaken by the experience.
So as you could see, this weird man in blue, he started following me, and every time I was stopping, he was just passing me and waiting on a spot for me to pass him again so he can follow me again.
She was later physically harassed, though it's clear she's less upset by that. It may have just been a child making a mistake than the clear follower. She eventually blows up at the man, telling him off, and does manage to get away. It's good she was comfortable sticking up for herself, because who knows if she'd let it go on much longer. Orlando apartment stalker. Now imagine this. You're walking down a busy street in downtown Orlando, minding your own business, when suddenly you feel like someone's watching you. You turn around, but no one's there. You keep walking, but that feeling doesn't go away. Before you know it, you're being followed. That's exactly what happened to one unfortunate woman.
Terrifying, you know, as a woman, we always try to be as safe as we can, and you just never know what to expect.
She was just going about her day when a stalker began following her, keeping his distance but never letting her out of his sight. It was early in the morning as the video catches. On her way home, the woman tried to ignore him and walked faster, but he persisted. Finally, she made it to her apartment building, thinking she was safe, but the stalker followed her right inside. The suspect calmly walks behind the woman as if he has everything in the world. The woman has no idea what's about to happen. Once inside the building, the stalker attacked the woman and stole money from her wallet.
It's just crazy that, you know, somebody's going home or going to and from a place and, you know, they're being followed by somebody who don't want to, you know, who they don't know or don't want to be around.
She was lucky to escape with only minor injuries, but the experience left her feeling violated and afraid. It's easy to think that once you're in the safety of your own home, you're out of harm's way. However, as this story proves, you must be aware of your surroundings and watch for potential threats. Fort Lauderdale abduction. Most of us, when we leave the house, don't expect for our day to go from normal to absolutely terrifying in just a matter of seconds. But seeing as how the world we live in is so wild and unpredictable, sometimes that's exactly what can happen. The following story documents the case of a woman who was caught on surveillance camera running around frantically, naturally causing many to wonder what exactly she's so fearful of and why she's fleeing so fast. As it turns out, she was running away from an abductor. Another surveillance camera picked up the abductor running around before eventually sneaking up behind the unsuspecting woman, at which point he grabbed her unexpectedly. The woman was trying her hardest to call for help as best as she could. Luckily, somebody nearby noticed what was going on, rushing to the woman's aid, causing the strange man to flee from the scene by getting on his bicycle. Thankfully, the woman is okay. Let's just hope this creepy man doesn't do this again in the future. Stalker calls job. No isn't always enough of an answer to get people to leave you alone. The woman has been dealing with the situation for a while and is fed up with the man on the phone's behavior. She calls him out for calling her at her work, and he apologizes, but that's not enough. He's apparently apologized before, meaning he expects her to absolve him of the behavior without actively trying to stop doing it. In return, she threatens to call his job and the story changes.
I just have a hard time dealing with you saying, never mind. I just wanted to say I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't care about your apology. You've already said sorry several times and you continue to do the same things. Leave me alone. If you don't leave me alone, I will contact the police and I will contact your job. Since you were calling me at my job, I will contact you at your job.
This is a consistent long-term pattern of behavior, as he claims he cares about her, despite her saying she doesn't want anything to do with him and knows nothing about him. Usually she would have just hung up, but she wanted to record this as a PSA for his behavior.
Do not ever contact me at my job again, or my personal cell phone, or anything.
I mean, we didn't share anything though, bro. Like, come on.
Nothing that's worth anything to me. Like, leave me alone. I'm not sitting here having this conversation with you. Leave me alone, I will call the police. Bye.
A few comments asked if it worked, but the truth is, no can be a complete sentence. She unfortunately has to deal with this man who's struggling with her answer, despite making it abundantly clear that they're not on the same page. If Brett's behavior is troubling, the next video will simply make you want to puke. While Brett was more ideological in his misguided behavior, Christopher Jones is a peeping Tom who doesn't know how to keep it in his pants. How would you feel if you were in your bath and looked out for a moment to see a pair of eyes staring at your nakedness through the window? This is what Christopher Jones' neighbor had to go through one cool evening. The worst part of it is that Brett is a convicted sex offender. When you see him, you'd never imagine that he would do anything of this sort. He looks clean-cut, articulate, and graceful.
I'm actually surprised that you guys are here for this. I was waiting for you guys to come pick me up.
How did it happen? The woman had returned to her Cranston home and went into her bathroom in preparation for a soothing bath, but she heard a buzzing noise and felt something might be going wrong with her pool. She left the bathroom to check the pool, and that's when she saw it. Just outside her open bathroom window was a drone. The moment Jones noticed that his drone had been seen, he tried to fly away quickly, but in his haste, the drone slammed into a tree and fell. The woman grabbed it and submerged it in water to deactivate it. Jones speaks calmly to the cops. He's really cooperative, and one wonders if he's doing this out of remorse or just to save his neck. His piety is exposed when the cops invite him to come down to the station to clear things up.
We're asking if you would like to get in your own truck, follow us down to the station, speak with the detective that's going to be handling the case. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, maybe it's not. We don't know, it's still being investigated. So, as of right now, there's no charges against you, okay?
Yeah.
So we're not going to take you. If you would like to come down to the station and clear this all up on your own, we would really appreciate that.
His response was a refusal. He says, "My fear is that I go down there and I speak to the detective, not with legal representation, and I end up staying there."
My only fear is that I go down there and I speak to the detective and not with legal representation, and then I end up staying there.
He was arrested shortly after. One would assume that the woman whose privacy was violated had taken the matter up.
Get you right out of here, back to the station, okay?
He faces video voyeurism charges, and according to federal law, a person is guilty of video voyeurism when they look into an occupied residence with a camera for the purpose of sexual arousal or gratification. Security cameras won't do the job. Even when there's security cameras in your building, these creeps don't care who sees or who knows that they're the dangerous stalkers. It might be time to stay indoors, especially when the sun falls off the face of the sky and darkness settles over the horizon. This evil man follows a woman home late in the night between the hours of 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. Watch as he walks without looking skittish. He makes his way into the hallway, unbothered by the security cameras hanging around the building. Watch his walk through the hallway with the same calm demeanor, following the woman who's making her way up the stairs. Can you guess what happened next? She's safe at least, and that's all we can say. Yes Man follows vlogger. Walking around this marketplace seems lively, surrounded by people and shops alike. This man, however, manages to catch the attention of an aggressively friendly stranger. They share a drink, but the man refuses to leave him. He follows the vlogger into the next booth as he attempts to buy underwear from a local, and the vlogger has to ask him multiple times to leave him alone. He continues to aggressively say he needs help, but the vlogger in turn says he doesn't, asking him under no uncertain terms to just leave him alone. He continues for a while before the man shows back up, pushing himself back into the camera's view.
No, you are not going there. I am going there. Yes, you are going there.
Yes, second.
You there, me there. You there, then I there.
The vlogger is losing his patience with the stranger because he's following him around all the grounds. No matter where he goes, the man acts as if he's his shadow. Eventually, he debates going and buying the stranger alcohol, but he doesn't want to reward the strange stalker-like behavior from the man.
If I go in there and buy him whiskey or something, he will piss off. The problem is I don't want to reward his behavior. Like, he's not contributing at all. I've told him to get lost many times.
He's clearly irate, but the man does eventually finally wander off.
The sad thing is that the times when you do try to say, like, please stop, then they don't stop. But anyway, I think he's lost now.
If the vlogger hadn't been so direct with his instruction, would he have left on his own? How far would he have followed? The barefoot stalker. No one ever thinks it'll happen to them. You live in the same neighborhood for years, walk the same streets daily, and never once feel like you're in danger. But sometimes danger lurks where you least expect it, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. One woman learned this lesson the hard way. She was walking home just like any other night when her attacker struck. He had been watching her, biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce, and when she least expected it, he did just that. What's truly chilling is how calculated this attack was. The man had been watching her for some time, waiting until he knew her routine inside and out. He removed his shoes to move silently, ensuring she wouldn't hear him coming, and when she turned her back, he made his move. Ultimately, we can't control the actions of others, but we can take steps to ensure our own safety. Don't let familiarity breed complacency. Stay alert, prepared, and safe. Ex-girlfriend stalker. The next video was posted to YouTube on July 26, 2016, by a user who's very clearly worried about something going on outside of his home, since he's filming in front of his yard, which at first glance appears to be completely normal. What in the world could this man be so fearful of? Well, in just a few moments here it becomes crystal clear. There's a white truck parked in front of the YouTuber's house, and inside of it is his ex-girlfriend, who definitely appears to be stalking the man. She can be seen throughout the video watching him as he stands inside of his home, peeking out the windows to see what she could be up to. At one point in the video, it appears as though she notices that she's being filmed. She promptly reverses the truck and parks it a little bit further back, but little does she know, she's still being filmed by the man. She then cranes her head out of the window, expressing her anger that she's being filmed.
Recorded me like a little snitch-ass bitch, and I'm gonna give you something to record that you can't use that documentation whatsoever, okay? I'm gonna put use the camera.
She continues to sit in the car for a few moments later until the video abruptly ends. Whatever's going on here, it's clear that this poor man is being stalked by his ex-girlfriend who just won't give up. Let's just hope that he eventually finds peace and that his ex will finally leave him alone. The Stalker Manifesto. Police don't always ignore concerns. Sometimes they take things seriously. Thankfully, that's the situation with this incident. The man filming was the one stalking a woman, but he doesn't quite realize what he's done. The man is actively telling the police officers about his behavior. He doesn't seem to understand that what he's doing isn't okay. He admits to following and at some point even chasing the woman he's stalking, but makes it seem like it's some sort of game.
Yeah, but it wasn't chasing. It was like going down a couple streets. Like, that's like fun to women. Like, women like that. A little bit of excitement.
No, they don't. Women don't like to be chased.
He explains that he believes all women enjoy that sort of behavior, citing porn as his proof, and that the cops don't know that the woman he's stalking is secretly enjoying herself. The police remain professional, but don't let him get away with that line of thinking. At one point, one of them said he would do the same as the poor woman's father and threaten him over the phone too.
Choosing her free will by telling her daddy what happened to you, and I'm telling you, stay away from her because he will hurt you probably.
She's being controlled by him.
That's fine. That's her choice, right?
He claims she must have some sort of assault fantasy, and the police tell him unquestionably to just leave the woman alone. He tries to argue with them, but he continues to be shut down by the cops in questions.
Okay, you need to leave.
It's legal.
You need to leave.
Well,
we're not doing anything. You need to leave.
I'm having a discussion on it.
I'm having a discussion telling you to leave.
Are you threatening me with arrest?
I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you to leave.
He refuses to let things go because he believes he's going to be a famous DJ someday, and the girl should just be allowed to hear his music because it'll change everything and make her want him.
I was going to let her make her own choice after the song.
Well, she's made her choice.
And I just don't think she had a reasonable opportunity to make a choice because I'm going to blow up and I'm going to be a famous DJ and I'm going to...
The end of the video feels like a terrifying incel manifesto, which is how he ends things off. Do you think they should have let him go like that, or should they have done something about this? Hopefully she got away from him safely. If Christopher Jones gave you the heebie-jeebies, what would you think of exes and their stalking? Have you ever felt like you couldn't get rid of a person? They call your phone endlessly and have a habit of simply popping up wherever you go? This is the story of the victim in this last video. Try as she could, she was unable to get rid of her stalker, who seemed to have pinpoint knowledge of her whereabouts, popping up at restaurants, gas stations, and just about everywhere else. What did the perpetrator say the moment the cops appeared on the scene? I just thought she might be with someone and I wanted to know where she was. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I just wanted to see where she was.
She might be with someone, so I thought to see where she was. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I never had any criminal history.
Okay.
Like that. I just wanted to see where she was, and
For him, it wasn't such a big deal, was it? But for the victim of his stalking, it was rather huge. You can hear the pain in her voice when she speaks. It's been over a year since she began to go through this terrifying ordeal.
So, yes, I filed a police report on him before, like a year or two ago.
Calls, texts, and unsolicited visits from this young man had forced her to file a police report, and he had stopped, but only for a little while. Within 1 year of her filing a report, he was back with apologies. She thought it was genuine and they struck up a friendship once more, but it wasn't over.
Because he was sending me harassing emails, voicemails, calls, texts, and I wanted it to stop. He wouldn't stop. That was in Gwinnett County. Filed the police report, told him about it, and it stopped for a long time. Recently, more recently, maybe fast forward a year, 2 years, he reaches out to me again. He says, I'm sorry for everything, and we talk as friends, and everything's okay.
Again, he begins to text incessantly, emails demanding to know where she was and who she's with, calls that make you want to smash your phone against the wall, and worst of all, on the day this video was recorded, he actually planted a GPS tracker on the victim's car, forcing her to call 911 as she'd become terrified for her life.
All of a sudden today, I'm getting emails like, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? He was looking for me for 2 days and like calling different places, trying to find out where I was. He looking in parking lots for my car.
Okay.
Think places where he thinks I'd be. and he finds my car, and I guess today is when he put a GPS tracker on my car.
Claims he put a GPS on it.
That's what he told me. He said it's on the left side tires. I don't know which tire it's under, but he said it's like a magnetic device that's stuck under my car.
You'd think it makes no sense that he'd actually placed a GPS tracker in her car, but the cops took her concern serious and searched it. Their quick search revealed that a GPS tracker was indeed actually planted in the car, and the moment it was retrieved, you could literally feel what she's feeling. The pain and the disbelief.
I found it.
You found it?
Yep.
Oh my god!
Yep.
You can't get it?
No, I can't. I'll take a picture of it.
How did he do that?
What's their relationship, you might ask? They'd gone out just once over a year ago. They weren't officially a couple, they were just hanging out, and already he's obsessed enough to plant a tracker on her car? Don't you feel cold with fear at the contemplation of that kind of behavior? 'Cause I do. Listen to him explain their relationship, or the lack of one.
Were you guys a thing? Like, were you guys a
it's like
couple?
a thing, like not like officially, but we were kind of like hanging out and went to like we're going out places and stuff. So we were kind of thinking of that.
Okay.
I was working on it, trying to work out.
You were trying to work that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if they weren't dating, why did he feel threatened enough to plant a tracker on her car? He explains his reasons, and it just makes you a little more worried for his mental state.
But she said she got a call and she wanna go, and I was kind of upset. So I thought she was like lying to me or anything like that. So I put a tracker on that the other day, and next like 2 days back she said she went to hotel. So I thought she went with somebody. So I had a tracking device like a couple of days last week on. So I just used it to track it and see where she was.
The good thing here is she did decide to press charges. This way he pays for what he did, though he continues to view it as not a big deal.
All right, so
Yes.
you're saying you want to press charges.
Yes.
So what I'm going to need from you is if I give you a piece of paper, could you write down everything that happened? Just kind of sticking with the most recent events.
This is not his first rodeo. The first time he did this, he followed a woman, then pretended to apologize to her when suddenly he pounced and tried to carry her off into the car park. He didn't succeed because the woman was a tigress who fought back, attacking with her keys and biting her attacker. She bit hard enough because she was able to extricate herself from the danger, but a few days later, here's a video of the man following another woman. Watch how he ambles along the road, walking almost aimlessly in his all-black attire. His clothing appears to be white and black in some frames because of the infrared. I hope he gets worse than a bite next time. Truck driver unsettled. This driver seems to be a lifestyle blogger, but in the style of a delivery driver. He keeps a GoPro on his head, showing his daily routes, and stops as he goes. The day is mostly uneventful until well after the sun goes down. He eventually explains that there's been a car trying to brake check him, peel him around, get him to pull over. It's all a series of unsettling behavior coming from a stranger at 2 in the morning.
This guy that's following me, waving me down, he literally got in front of me, brake checked me, turned on his hazards, and tried telling me to pull over.
He's been trying to get rid of the guy for a while, even at one point resorting to faking him out on a turn. It seems to be enough for a while, but he does make his way back.
That's literally him.
Once the driver pulls off into a stop, the man pulls up next to him, and it wouldn't necessarily be an issue if he wasn't so uncomfortable.
I follow you!
Oh, you follow me?
Yeah!
Oh, nice to meet you, man.
Hey,
What's up, man?
It's not just women who can be targeted. He expresses concern over a local serial killer and how this behavior is making him all the more tense and uncomfortable, all within good reason. Talking to the man at the stop seems enough, but it's still strange. He explains the behavior had gone on for 25 minutes at that point, more than enough to make anyone feel a bit off. Followed into elevator. Imagine walking into your apartment building, minding your business, when a dangerous stranger suddenly joins you in the elevator. You're trapped and you can't escape. It's a scene that always plays out in our heads, but we never think it could happen to us. Well, for one woman, it did. And what happened next was nothing short of a nightmare. The camera footage is chilling. The man walks in behind her, calm and collected. Little did she know her life was about to change forever. As the elevator doors closed, the woman probably felt relieved that she was heading towards her floor, but as soon as the doors opened, the man followed her out. She tried to shake him off, but he persisted. Following her to her apartment, he pushed his way inside. Thankfully, this story has a happy ending. The woman managed to escape to her bedroom and call for help. The attacker fled, leaving behind a clear image for authorities to identify him. But the terror doesn't end there. The woman would look over her shoulder for a long time. Maybe you should keep your wits about you next time you step into an elevator with a stranger. You never know what could happen. Pickup truck stalker. This next video comes from a series of Snapchat stories uploaded by a woman named Mackenzie Smalley. She can be seen walking outside in the middle of the day in Old Town Scottsdale, probably just trying to enjoy her afternoon and take in the fresh air. However, that's made impossible because just behind her, a creepy man in a pickup truck is following her, turning down every corner she is. At one point in the video, she kindly tells the man, "I need you to stop following me," but it's obvious that he won't obey her wishes.
I need you to stop following me right now. I don't know you. I don't know you. Bye!
She then says that at one point, she even needed to break into a full-on sprint in order to get away from the eerie being. Luckily, the woman was able to escape from the man, but she's expressed her frustration that people who saw the incident unfold didn't do anything to help her.
And the most frustrating part about all of that was I was looking at all the other cars that were driving by, like looking, like saying, like, help, like this, like giving them like the eye, and they didn't do anything. So if you see someone harassing a girl, or a girl like literally going like that, like, help me, do something.
Here's hoping that this man isn't still stalking other women to this day. Park fondler. It's just a matter of keeping your eyes out on your surroundings. This quick clip shows a hyper-vigilant woman catching a creep in the act. The act of what is unclear, though she remarks his hands were clearly in his pants as he followed her for about half an hour. If you feel unsafe, maybe start filming. You never know what you're gonna catch. This woman didn't seem like she was in danger, but you never really know. When people want to act up, they often do so when they think they're going to get away with it. What's in the bag? What do you do when you hear strange voices outside your home with your husband away and your kids soundly asleep? Do you panic, or do you simply take a look around the house to make sure everything is okay? This Neston woman who'd only returned from work a few hours earlier simply got up, made sure all the doors were locked, and checked on her kids when she heard strange voices outside her home at 2:45 a.m. And that might be what saved them from this intruder who walked up to the home. The hooded man made his way casually to the front door like he built the house from the ground up. He tried the lock. When it didn't give, he made his way around back only to encounter the same obstacle. The security camera captured the creepy guy clearly, showing him carrying a paper bag. What do you think's in that bag? Weapons? Some dangerous tools of the creepy man's trade? Your guess is as good as mine. Robbery at home. Home is supposed to be the safest place you can be, a place where you can relax, unwind, and feel secure. But what if your home isn't a safe haven? What if it becomes a target for criminals instead of being a sanctuary? That's exactly what happened to two men mugged at gunpoint outside their front door. They were walking up to their home, four men suddenly emerged from the shadows and attacked them. It's a terrifying experience that shattered their sense of security and left them feeling vulnerable and exposed. The entire incident was captured on camera and the footage is truly chilling. You can see the two victims walking up to their homes, unaware of the danger lurking behind them, and then out of nowhere, four men come running up behind them, brandishing guns and demanding their valuables. It's a scene that could happen to anyone, anywhere. Home is supposed to be a sanctuary where we can let our guard down and feel safe, but when the safety is shattered, we must take action and ensure that our homes and neighborhoods remain secure. Let this serve as a stark reminder that we're never truly safe, even in our own homes. Speaking of exes and stalking, our last video is on another ex whose strategy is simply to blame the victim while trying to paint himself as innocent of all charges. He had the papers and the convoluted stories to prove his innocence, yet he's parked by a restaurant where his ex works, a place where he knows he's not allowed to enter.
So Bay Breeze does not want you back in the restaurant. You're a trespasser there, okay?
I'm not going in the restaurant.
Okay, if you go in there again, you will be arrested for trespassing, okay?
The couple had been together for a while, until things turned sour like it often does. The stalker says that they'd been together since 2013, and I gotta admit, that's a pretty long time. But if his manner of speech is anything to go by, then I understand why she doesn't want anything to do with him anymore.
Listen, 15 years, the one in there was my girlfriend.
I know.
For 5 kids, she didn't have a job a single moment. I left her, she was having a mental breakdown, and she was a sponge of alcohol, and I had to help her.
He claims his ex-girlfriend calls him an addict and has been harassing him, but the cop was quick to point out that he is the one who came to her workplace and not the other way around.
Charlene and that gal need to stop calling me a drug addict.
Okay.
Because it's hurting me.
Okay, so you need to stop emailing. You need to stop emailing and leaving them messages, or I'm going to arrest you for stalking and harassment.
Well, that's what they're harassment. That's what I want to charge them with. If they
you're the one that keeps coming here, and you're the one that sends the emails.
The cop asked why he's at the restaurant where his girlfriend works, and his response is just the craziest thing. He simply said he was there to get fries.
Okay, so why did you come here today?
To get fries.
The cop asks why he didn't go to a different restaurant or anywhere else, and he simply shrugs and says, why not?
And I did get fries.
Why didn't she go to the Shores or one of the other restaurants? Why do you have to go to where Charlene's working?
Why not?
He's trying so hard to show that his ex is the one stalking him, and the cop asks, so how's she stalking you? I'd like to know.
Okay, so how is she stalking you?
And he goes off on a long and aimless ramble that proves nothing. Well, I have all the documentation right here.
I'd like to know.
Well, I have all the documentation right here.
With his girlfriend, the conversation is more lucid. She's sure of what she wants, and that is for this man to leave her alone and quit stalking her or trying to sneak back into her life. I keep telling him every day, leave me alone, leave me alone.
I had him removed from my trailer, and I kept telling him every day, leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm getting ready to move. And he's like, I just want to see you. I just want to be with you before you leave. Well, and I said, no, you're not welcome at my trailer anymore. Like, leave me alone.
She has a restraining order out against him, but on the evidence today, it hasn't deterred him one bit. From emails to texts, calls, and driving to her workplace, it's relentless, and you feel the pain of the lady who has this deeply disturbed man stalking her life.